Good afternoon and welcome back. I'm Marcus Peter. Dr. Matthew Bunson, Vice President and Editorial Director of EWTN News, joins us every week to talk about church news and current events in light of church teaching. Matthew, thank you for making the time. How are you?
Oh, great to be with you, as always.
I always look forward to the time when we get to connect, personally as well as professionally.
Likewise.
So, there's no real way to present this in a more diplomatic manner. Monsignor Stephen Rossetti and the UFO situation. Let's just cover the news to talk about what we know has happened.
Yeah. Well, this is one of those stories that took a lot of people by surprise, and one never expects to be talking about things like UFOs and Catholic teaching, although that for me is a very fascinating conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But there is, as you well know, as a theologian, also some discussion about what exactly are UFOs, what exactly are ETIs, or extraterrestrial intelligence, forms of NHIs, non-human intelligence, that sort of thing. And is belief in that contrary to the Catholic faith? That is all of something of a ramp up to basically what happened yesterday, which is that the Archbishop of Washington, Cardinal Robert McElroy, removed from his role as Archdiocesan Exorcist Monsignor Stephen Rossetti, who has served in this position for quite some time, I believe, and is also the head of, or closely affiliated with, the St. Michael Center, which is a sort of a Catholic nonprofit that focuses on spiritual education and training for both clergy and various religious and of course, laity. It's called the St. Michael's Center for Spirituality. It's also located in Washington, D.C., and the Cardinal has also ended all affiliation between the Archdiocese and the St. Michael's Center. What's interesting in the statement, though, is that it doesn't get into absolute specifics. It's very brief. Beyond, and I'll quote this if you don't mind, this is Cardinal McElroy said, and this is from the Archdiocese, that statements made by Monsignor Rossetti linking UFOs to demonic presence and the Center's recent use of social media gravely undermine the Church's very precise teaching on the devil, demons, and exorcism. So that's it. I mean, that was all that was published. And in response, I thought it was a very gracious statement from Monsignor Rossetti. He said, quote, he was saddened by the Archdiocese's decision, and he says, I ask forgiveness for any ways that I have not been faithful to the teachings of the Church's magisterium, particularly in the cited video on aliens and the demonic. So he went on talking about his utmost importance to be obedient to the Church, and he was grateful for 19 years of ministering in the Archdiocese, and that the St. Michael Center plans to continue its ministry elsewhere.
I have a question, without questioning Archbishop McElroy's position here. Monsignor Rossetti's statement is not uncommon. You and I know well within the theological sphere priests who make that assumption because it's within the realm of speculative theology. So I just invite your thoughts there.
Yeah, I think where this is probably coming from in terms of that decision is that is this a blurring of the lines between his role as exorcist, and I'm just speculating, that this is a position of some spiritual prominence for any diocese as your exorcist would. And when you begin moving into the realm of speculative theology like that, are you doing anything that could be confusing to the faithful? And I'm sure Monsignor Rossetti knew exactly what he was doing and felt that this is something that he wanted to talk about. But the question becomes, is that the right forum to have these types of speculations? And you're absolutely right. There's a lot of theological opinion out there regarding what exactly are UFOs or UAPs or however you want to define them. And what is that relationship, and has the Church ever ruled on this? And we can go back throughout the whole of philosophy. You can go back to Plato and Aristotle and differing opinions on that. I know that St. Augustine had some thoughts. I know Aquinas had some thoughts. To me, one of the most interesting is still Nicholas of Cusa, who anticipated a whole lot of different elements of modern cosmology and actually speculated that if Earth is only one planet among many different planets, and if the heavenly bodies are made of the same basic elements as Earth, it is likely to host intelligent species. Now, that's just not the same thing as what a UFO might be. So, again, I know there's a lot of opinion on this.
Let's move on from there to just a quick nod in terms of appreciation and gratitude for the appointment of Monsignor Alvarado to the Dicastery for Communications.
Yeah, the Holy Father's decision is one I think that all of us will keep her in our prayers. And I think the best thing I can say is to echo what Michael Warsaw, chairman of the board and chief executive officer of EWTN, pointed out, that her background in international media, public affairs, church engagement really helped shape EWTN's outreach, as he put it, at a very critical moment in the history of our apostolate, and the pivot into a deeper engagement with the digital space. And as he also noted, and this is just as important, that she has remained deeply committed to the mission that defines EWTN of proclaiming the truth of Jesus and the teachings of his church with clarity, fidelity, and charity.
Well, without spending too much time on it, because we know that this will develop and we'll learn a lot more, I must admit a tremendous amount of gratitude, too, for her capacity, her acumen for accuracy and presenting the news well, and Pope Leo XIV's very clear commitment to clear communication. So I'm looking forward to a lot of very clear communication coming out of the Vatican.
Yeah, I think it speaks volumes about our Holy Father, and as I said, all of us will be keeping her in our prayers as she, in the coming months, assumes this new role.
So let's move on to some happy news, more happy news. The canonization cause of Sister Blandina Segali. Tell us about this.
Yeah, this is, to be honest, this is when I saw the news about this, especially that the press conference was being held, that her cause for canonization of Sister Blandina Segali was moving forward, that Vatican theologians had voted unanimously to advance her sainthood cause. This is tremendous news, obviously. She had the nickname of the fastest nun in the West. Her life story, I think, is a really fascinating one in the sense that she was an Italian immigrant who arrived in, of all places, the West in the 1800s. I mean, she was born in Italy. At a certain point, moved to Cincinnati when she was just, I think, the age of 4. Joins the Sisters of Charity at 16, and then ends up in the American Southwest, especially in Colorado and New Mexico. And she worked in schools, orphanages, and hospitals. She was also very concerned about the needs and the plight of Native American women, and tried, under the very difficult circumstances that were emerging for the Native Americans, especially in the West, to build a trade school for them. She opened a home for the elderly. She raised money. She was traveling all the time, especially to bring about that health care for people. But probably the most famous story about her was her friendship with William Bonney, who is known to history as Billy the Kid. And this is one of the most infamous gunslingers in the Wild, Wild West. And yet, she took care of one of Billy the Kid's gang members after he'd been shot, especially when doctors, this is possibly apocryphal, but I when you look back on many of her journals and letters and things, she seems to affirm this. Doctors, of course, were terrified of treating any of Billy the Kid's rather violent gang, but she did, and that had great importance, and we can talk more about it after the break.
I would have loved to have met her. My guest is Dr. Matthew Bunson, Vice President and Editorial Director of EWTN News, and we're talking about church news. We were just talking about the canonization cause moving forward for Sister Blandina Segali, this amazing nun with a great backstory. Continuing on the other side, stay tuned. I'm Marcus Peter. Good afternoon and welcome back. I'm Marcus Peter. I'm talking with Dr. Matthew Bunson, Vice President, Editorial Director of EWTN News. Matthew, we were talking earlier about the fastest nun in the West, who incidentally was a friend of one of the fastest guns in the West. I couldn't help myself. I love this.
Yeah, well, exactly. But these are the stories, and here we are on the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. So this is a moment for us to reflect and to celebrate the extraordinary lives of Catholics and the way that we shaped American Catholic history. And for me, this is one of those great examples of just the completely unexpected woman who emerges in the West and has this reputation for holiness. And of course, as people got to know her better, I'm kind of shocked actually that it was only in 2014, I think, that sort of the whole process to beatify her got underway, and she was given the title Servant of God, which of course then opens up the whole process that we're seeing unfold now of investigating her life and everything else. Now that, as we know, any cause for canonization takes a long time. Yeah. But her life story, the idea of this nun born in Italy, much like Francis Xavier Cabrini, fearlessly coming to the United States, enters a religious order and congregation and finds herself in the unlikeliest of places. It reminds me too of someone like Saint Marianne Cope, Mother Marianne in Hawaii, who gave her life as sort of successor to Damien de Veuster for the lepers. But Segale, I think, Sister Blandina, was somebody who's rather unique just in the sense of how dangerous that world was in the 1870s, 1860s, and the courage that it took, the hope that it took for her to be willing to travel by train, by stage, by horseback, by foot, across what was very difficult territory still. And her fearlessness in rebuilding convents, as we were just talking before the break, in establishing schools, in hospitals, and for caring for those who in their time were much hated or who suffered from these terrible social disabilities. I think in particular of the Native Americans who in this great period, this terrible period, for them, she was, again, to use that word, she was fearless in caring for them and doing what she could to help their situation, but then also to care for the poor, the sick, and the variety of immigrants. But then to develop friendships with the most unlikely people, not because she was cultivating these friendships, because she consistently did what was right and what needed to be done, and that brought her into those encounters where she saw in these people, even the worst gunslingers who needed medical care, she saw in them a soul that needed help.
And she responded in kind as in true Catholic charity. And thank God for that, because now her course for canonization has been cleared rather quickly.
Yeah, exactly. Please. Well, I was going to say that she was willing to help. As we when we went to the break, we were talking about the fact that she provided some medical care for one of Billy the Kid's gang members. The backstory for that, or one of the most important parts of that, was that Billy the Kid was not the most forgiving person in the world. Mm-hmm. And the fact that she took care of one of his gang members when doctors refused to, and he wanted to exact some form of revenge on these doctors, but she was there instead. And that's a life-changing moment for Billy the Kid. He went on, and his life story is what it was. But she visited him in jail, and on one occasion, he was actually in the process of robbing a stagecoach and abandoned the idea of it when he realized that she was actually one of the passengers. So he walked away from a robbery of a stagecoach because they were friends. And you can only imagine the look he got from her when he realized what was happening.
Wow. And we know that that's not an apocryphal story.
No. As far as I'm aware, that did actually happen.
Well, if you don't mind us moving forward from there, yet more happy news. The USCCB wants us to consecrate our nation to the Sacred Heart of Jesus, and we are beginning with a national novena on June the 3rd. Tell us about this, please.
Yeah, well, so next week, and this is a big thing. We heard about it last year, that the bishops were going to, as part of this celebration, we were just talking about the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence, that the bishops will consecrate the United States to the Sacred Heart of Jesus, and that'll happen next week. So June 11th, in Orlando, where the bishops are gathered. I'll have the privilege of being in Orlando for that, so I look forward to our conversation about it. And they are going to consecrate America to the Sacred Heart. Now, attached to that is the novena to the Sacred Heart of Jesus. And, of course, the novena draws its daily devotions from the Litany of the Sacred Heart. So that each day we reflect on the wisdom of saints and popes, on the Sacred Heart, and it gives us as well an opportunity to pray, to reflect, and also to cherish, once again, two things. Pope Francis's encyclical, his last one, Dilexit Nos, in other words, he loved us, and also the apostolic exhortation Dilexite, which means I have loved you, from Pope Leo XIV. So I would encourage everyone to start praying the novena, and it's never too late to start. And fortunately, the USCCB has also provided us with a variety of resources to actually take part in this, and that includes things like enthronement of the Sacred Heart of Jesus in our homes. We have the Knights of Columbus resources on the Sacred Heart, the Pope's own prayer network for consecration resources, and then also what the USCCB is going to be doing to celebrate the Catholic contributions. Here we were just talking about Sister Blandina. Well, this is a perfect opportunity to take that even one more step.
And I'm looking forward to talking with you more about this as well, and to be praying this with you, knowing that virtually every Catholic in this nation will be joined together to consecrate our beloved nation to the heart of, well, our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Go ahead, please, yes.
Well, I was going to say, especially at a time when we need it. Now, the other thing, too, is that here we are fast approaching the magnificent solemnity, the Feast of Corpus Christi, and doing everything that we can to promote the belief and love for the Eucharist. And, of course, on Saturday, we will be broadcasting the Eucharistic procession from the Catholic Information Center here in Washington, D.C., and we will also be anticipating and doing everything we can to promote the continuation of the Eucharistic pilgrimage that's making its way across the country right now, the so-called Cabrini route that is going to end in Philadelphia in early July. So this is a summer of rich opportunities, and the more that we can do to promote the devotion of the Sacred Heart and, of course, devotion of the Eucharist is time well spent for all of us.
To end on a very quick but important note, anti-Christian violence in India.
Yeah, well, we know that this is an ongoing problem for all of us. For those who are feeling that this is something that's happening somewhere else, it's not. And so we have been reporting on a group that has brought together 200 leaders and delegates of Christian networks and action groups of lawyers, researchers, and also members of the Hindu and Muslim communities for a tribunal in New Delhi to hear the testimony of survivors of anti-Christian violence. So let us keep our Christian sisters and brothers in India, in Africa, and everywhere around the world in our prayers.
Matthew, my friend, thank you very much for your wisdom and your time.
Joy to be with you.
My guest has been Dr. Matthew Bunson, Vice President, Editorial Director of EWTN News. Heed that final exhortation from Matthew. Let's pray for our brothers and sisters across the world and see how we can help them. I'm Marcus Peter.